Should be live now. Hello, guys. How are we doing? Give me a quick hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, team. What's up? What's up? What's up? Give us a few seconds. I also, everybody's gathering. I always do that for some reason. I don't know why, but I always forget to bring some water. I have like a long speech in front of me, so I'm gonna grab some water real quick, and then I'll be back in 1 second. All right, hello. We're ready. We're back. Aladdin's in the call. He's muted. He's gonna hop in as soon as something's up. But yeah, welcome guys. I don't know how many people are in here who have not been at Creators Call before. If you've also uploaded the link to the Hindi community, Aladdin, or no?
I posted on all three communities: the free, the English, and the Indian one.
Awesome, cool. Okay, guys. I think you have already seen what we're going to talk about today. I would like to cover the topic of hooks. It's a very highly discussed topic. It's a super important topic. It's actually you know, the biggest topic when we're talking about social media content creation. And I want to go over it, share some of my thoughts about it, share some maybe learnings, some tips and tricks, what type of hooks there are. You know, I think you guys have probably seen a lot of videos of people talking about what makes the best hooks, viral hook, mastery, whatever it is. That there's so many people talking about how to create viral hooks, and I want to start uh, my presentation about hooks today with one fact, which is that nobody has the answer. That is the truth. That is the fact that I want to put out there first before we dive into anything that I know, anything that I've learned. I want to let you guys know that nobody has the right answers or the secret formula to a viral winning hook. Not me, not other creators. For every example out there that works, there's always an example that doesn't work. It's always there's no correct way to create a viral hook is all I'm saying. What it comes down to at the end is psychology and time. You know, when we talk about a viral hook or talk about like what makes oops, I think it says my internet connection is not stable. Is that me or you, Aladdin? Am I still here?
You are still here, but
Okay,
maybe
perfect.
there's a potential that it's me. Maybe.
Okay, no, I just saw this pop up. What I'm saying is that it's all psychology, it's timing, and it always comes down to certain elements, certain small things that make your brain go, "Oh, I need to keep watching." Right? I don't want to talk about all that stuff that every other person already touched upon. So I want to dive into the stuff that I think is more valuable. Essentially, the kind of question you need to be able to answer preferably before you put out a video. Why should someone stop scrolling for this? And if you right away don't have an answer to that, and you don't feel like someone would actually stop scrolling for that, and you probably need to change something about it. Is so easily said, but it's very hard to do, because sometimes, even though you cannot give a real explanation of why you feel like something would make someone stop scrolling, but you still feel like it would get someone to stop scrolling, there is probably a reason that you might not see. And the other way around too. If you feel like, okay, I've checked every single box, it just doesn't feel right, there is something about it that will probably make it go viral. I promise you that. So, yeah, just because you follow a certain like trend, or you follow a certain like thing that has worked for someone else, does not mean it's going to work for you. It's like hooks are the hardest thing to create, and it's like the most important thing you need to like start improving on when you're talking about growing, obviously. I think this is nothing new. I want to go over some like examples for hooks that yeah, kind of like, because it really differs between what type of reels you're creating, what type of content you're creating. And obviously, for me, I can only talk from my personal experience of what I do, what type of content I do, and what I've learned through that. But I know there's so many different people doing it in so many different ways. And I want to start with by format, meaning people love patterns. People love when people create format that they're familiar with because they feel like they know what they're gonna get, right? They know they've seen the face, they've seen what they expect, and they are satisfied because they get exactly that. One really good example for that is uh, my friend Nikolai, who has mastered this format. I know not many people that do it better than him. His format is basically, I'm pretty sure 90% of you guys are familiar with his content. He goes crazy viral, and he is basically just, you know, when we're talking about niching down, this is an own niche for itself. But he's created this format where he always films himself with a phone, and he makes this crazy transition. So it's the same format. It's almost always the same sound, and it's always satisfying. It's always like you know what you're expecting. You get exactly that, and you tap that like button. His watch time, I know his statistics. I don't want to go too deep into detail, but his statistics are crazy. The watch time, which is one of the most important things, is crazy. Even though the hook might be long, he doesn't need to worry about the 3 second rule or whatever it is. It's just his face being in that phone screen enough for people to go like, okay, this is crazy. This is top league. This is where, you know, I don't think I know many other creators who have that figured out as much as he does. I think he's one of a kind. But it's definitely like the peak example of what hook by format means, right? Um, and you could think of something that works for you, right? One, you know, maybe smaller example for that would be just overall personal branding, having a face that is recognizable, having your face be connected to a certain type of content. If you can achieve that, you will be able to hook people better. One other big example that you are 100% familiar with is Zach King. He does not always have the same format, but his face is the format because he's been in the industry for so long. And whenever you see a video of Zach King pop, you know that something mind blowing is going to happen, something crazy, you know, perspectively switching, like something happen, and you know that because you've seen his face and his face is connected. But that obviously comes from him having created so many so many videos and over again. But that is definitely one way to create a viral hook, obviously, but that takes a while. And that's obviously something you should go for, but it takes, again, it takes a while for people to be like, okay, this is catchy. I know what I will get. But as McDonald's, you go to McDonald's, you know what you're going to get. It's always the same thing, but you're always satisfied. Not really. I always feel a bit bad after, but you always go there. You always keep watching. You always keep going there. Keep ordering the same thing. Um, then the next hook, visual visual hook, is by just visual impact in general. I think this is a very, very, very broad term, and there's a lot of different things that come into play here. But I do want to give another example. I like to always show examples. This time it's from me, and I think a good example of a hook that is visually interesting. And the reason I think this video got so many views, this 21 million view video, is because the first second that it pops up, we have this very visually interesting, before you even read the text. I always try to, like, when I look at a reel, try to like think of how my eye moves, right? There's a lot of like analysis that goes into it. Obviously, when I look at this video, I think my eyes naturally go to what is happening down here because it looks visually interesting. And then I start to look at the text, and then I'm ready to like understand, okay, what's gonna happen. And then obviously the visual impact is there. But yeah, the first second I think if this popped up on my For You page, I would be interested, just because the first frame, I chose the first seconds to be like the most exciting parts or the most interesting looking parts. Doesn't, because this is just a screen recording of the software that I was using, right? But it was still enough for people to go like, what is that, you know? And it generated that that curiosity. when they were watching it. I think, and again, it's not me having a secret formula. This is just me looking back at it and being like, okay, this was probably the reason for that. Still, if I redo that whole thing again, it's probably most likely not going to work as well as this one, just because it was a different animation. I think Daniel also did the same thing with his video, and he repurposed it, and also worked for him. I think one of his videos where he basically did this one, 300. Yeah, you can see like he used the same effect for it, and it also worked. So I think the format itself is part of the reason why that video performed, is the reason why it performed so well. Obviously the animation is cool, but yeah, this is just me trying out different things, and this is one of the big things I will get to later. But yeah, the next one I would like to cover, and then we could also chat about it. I feel like I'm in school presenting something. I would love to have an open conversation, maybe go through some of your examples, maybe give some feedback on what I think could be improved. Again, this is not a viral hook masterclass. I think I want to give just my honest thoughts on it, my learnings for it, and then have some conversations and Q&As about it. Yeah, one of the thriving factors that you need to like understand is people need to get curious. People need to be, just curious to see what is going to happen. I know you guys know that, but it's honestly one of the most powerful psychological triggers when we're talking about, you know, viral hooks. When you look at your, there's this explore page on Instagram, and when you click on that, what is on there? I'm not going to show mine, but when you look onto your explore page, you will see this little
Lenny, Lenny,
search button down there.
Lenny.
Yes.
Some I think a few people is like one is asking why am I facing distortion in live? So I guess something is wrong with your internet somehow because your faces
um
looks blurry a little bit.
that is bad. That is bad. Let me try and fix that. I don't know why that's the case, honestly. Maybe I can try to switch to my hotspot. 1 second. Please let me know if my internet got better, if this is something that if it changed something. Can we, before I keep continuing, before I talk while looking super blurry, how are we looking? Are we better?
Still blurry for me.
Okay, still slightly laggy, but not too bad for audio. We really need to fix some of our internet issues here. It's bad. I'm so sorry for that, guys. Can you still hear me though? Is my screen visible, and can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, and also your screen is quite good visible in a good way.
Okay,
So
perfect. Sorry for that blurry face. I'll try to fix that. Um, what I was saying is when you look at your explore page on your phone and then you tap on that little search icon, you will see the reels that pop up there will be exactly the ones that will be visually most catchy, the ones that will be generating the most curiosity for you. And when you look at it, try to understand. Really, this is an exercise for yourself. Try to look at it and understand why you stop. Why did you stop there? Why did you press on that one video on your explore page? I always catch myself doing that. I'm about to like search up someone and I see like just a video, just a brief second, super quickly. And I'm like, oop, and I get distracted and then tap on it. And there is a reason for that. And try to understand those reasons because it can be different for each and every single one. I'm just gonna adjust because it got a bit brighter now. I'm just gonna try to make it a bit darker.
your voice is kind of far away.
Just trying to figure out the exposure bit. How are we looking?
Still
Are
the
we okay?
same. No, still the same.
Same internet issue?
Yeah, I think
That's too
just proceed.
bad.
Just proceed. Your voice is good, so your audio is good, so should be
Okay.
fine.
I mean, the final recording, we're gonna re-upload this whole thing after, so the recording is gonna be better quality. But yeah, let's just go ahead and talk. Just keep going. I think the main takeaway for you to understand is that you should set up a question that can only be answered by watching. And that question, guys, is not, I want to stress this out, is people need to understand that question preferably without you asking it, you know? And what I mean by that is showing and not telling. Instead of putting a crazy question out there and you know, saying it straight to the camera, maybe think of like a visual image that you can present to the viewer to instantly make them ask that question for themselves, right? An example for that would be, and I want to show this on my portfolio again. Instead of sitting here and for the Lego reel, for an example, instead of sitting there and being like, okay, guys, I'm going to do something crazy. What happens if I make this thing fall down? I just do it, right? The BTS, where you can see here, is like the question I think people were asking themselves, obviously, which was the reason for me to do that hook, was what does the whole thing look like from the camera's perspective, right? This is the main thing that people were asking. It's a satisfying impact. People are like, oh shit, I want to know how does that look from the camera view, and then I hit him with a surprise, right? And yeah, you can apply that to obviously any video, and there's so many specific things that we can talk about after, but just let me finish this up real quick. Um, Again, for every hook that works, there's always one that breaks the rule, and also had to learn that because I was like, when I did this Mercedes video, for an example, I did this video and I did this hook with this crazy track text, and I was like, okay, this is, you know, this is catchy, this is what works for me, this is what I'm going to do now, right? This is me. I'm going to start with an intro, I'm going to have that crazy visual, and then I'm going to have an outro for it. That's my format, that's it. Boop, tried it a few times. Last video that I did in that format was working not so well. And yeah, that just like means that I need to constantly adapt and think of what is happening, what can I improve. You know, there's very hard to find a winning format, just like Nikolai has on his profile. It's really hard, and don't stress when you don't have it, because I don't have it. So yeah, I'm always constantly still trying to figure things out and do things differently. I'm going to show you an example in a second, but yeah, one of the as I said, one of the reels I had to learn through posting that last reel that I just showed you, where I was like, okay, this is probably going to work. The hook is professional. The effect, the 3D part is very professional. It looks cool. It didn't work. Why didn't it work? Maybe because the whole thing was not as impressive, because we did see, you know, it was just too professional from the start. So what does that mean for me? I'm going to try out videos with maybe a behind the scenes hook. You know, that could be an approach. Again, I'm not sitting here and I have the golden answer for viral hooks. I'm just saying that I'm always constantly trying out things and learning from what has worked, what hasn't worked, right? And trying to understand why certain things didn't work, and not doing the same thing over and over again, hoping that it will work at some point. Maybe I will get lucky with something, but you know, I constantly adapt. So I think this is one of the big things. And my advice, this is I think the core here. My advice to you would be, or this is what I do at least. I show my videos to a lot of people before I post them, right? And this comes with me being sometimes being unhappy and unsatisfied, but I kind of like step away from that people's opinion, but I always show people my work and then really closely look at how they react, right? And for my videos, I always want to see a reaction on people's face. So when I show them something and they don't go, whoa, that's their natural reaction. And if their natural reaction is not that, and is more like, yeah, that was cool, they will most certainly not be the people that will like that video. I intentionally show that video to people that I think will kind of fit into my target audience. If I show that video to my mom, she would probably react differently about it. But if I try to, like, I have a certain group of people and I always show it to them, and I'm like, I don't ask them to be brutally honest, but I always look at their reactions. This is one thing that, you know, I try to do. And if I get like the same feedback from the same type of people, then I'm pretty confident in like this being a good angle, right? Um, Using trial reels. I know this is a feature that Instagram has introduced a while back now, and I've always like struggled a bit with it, but I heavily suggest you try it out. You know, there's no harm in just posting and seeing how they perform and then just deleting them after. I do that all the time. I did that for the Lego video. If in case you don't know what trial reels are, trial reels means just posting reels that will only be shared to non-followers, so people that don't follow you yet. And Instagram basically just tries out how it reacts to a new audience. I have experienced a lot of different things with it. I've experienced, videos performing really well through trial reels, but I've also seen crazy underperformance with trial reels. But you don't lose when you post trial reels, so I just do it. Trying different formats always until you feel like you have found something that works for you, like Nikolai. But I highly doubt that you will be there like so. If you are, congrats. I'm not. It will take me a while, but I always like to try out new things, always like to do different things. And yeah, that's yeah, basically what comes with being a content creator. Always trying out new things, always being the person to think of something else and new. And one more thing that I always try to do nowadays, it comes natural for me. I try to think hook first. If I, for an example, let me give you a rundown of how my process went on that Lego video. I knew wanted to do something with Legos, right? And I knew that I would have this probe lens for this one day. And in my mind, I thought, okay, how can I combine the fact that I want to do something with Legos together with the fact that I have a probe lens? The shot from the probe lens itself will probably not be as impressive just visually. What will be impressive is the fact that the probe lens looks interesting. It's a very unique shape. And then I was like, okay, I'm probably going to do something outside to use the probe lens as a visual hook. And then this is how my brain process went. I immediately thought of like what is visually interesting about the whole thing, and then started to breaking the concept down from like the beginning to the end, but thinking of the hook first. And I wouldn't have spent time on this animation without knowing that I want to start the video like that. That was I without knowing what I was going to do, I knew that I would have this shot in the beginning, because I knew that whatever I come up with after, this will be a solid foundation. If I don't have that, I will not start working on a project. You know what I mean? And I think this is the main, one of the main things I try to switch my focus on. And then after that, I want to like, you know, not give you a homework, but I want to give you like a small challenge and challenge you to try out something that maybe you haven't done before, which is just trying to switch up your hook a bit. I know this sounds very easy, but try to like maybe go with one of these three options. Start with a POV shot, for an example. Aladdin, I know we talked about your hooks. How about you start one of your videos with a POV shot, doing something, making coffee, whatever it is, try it. Maybe you come up with something better. Um, Maybe with a fake BTS shot. When you create one of your effects for your videos where you double yourself, Aladdin, we're talking, I want to give you an example for that, but for an example, when you were doing the effect where you were doubling yourself, instead of showing that effect straight away, show the BTS of you creating the effect, right? Showing the BTS and making it about how, generating that curiosity moment, showing the BTS side of things, as an idea. Just try to make something that you haven't done before. Yeah, I think this is the main topics I wanted to talk about. Again, I think for you to understand that there is no secret formula, but it's always about trying out things, and it's always about psychological, like small things that make a video go viral or not viral. And it's sometimes I always go back and I see it after why something performed or didn't perform, and I try to learn from it. But I would not know if I didn't try it, right? So yeah, I would love to hear some thoughts. Maybe we can go over
I have a
some
question.
examples.
I have a question for that.
Yeah.
So let's say, aside from the trial method or the trial button that you have on Instagram,
Mhm.
how do I know from the analytics that this hook is working or not working? And based on that, you actually give that kind of judge. Like basically how to read the analytics of those
How to
three
read
hooks.
analytics.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, the main thing, obviously, there. also reading analytics is no right or wrong. The main thing I look at when I look at analytics, obviously likes versus views is a good ratio. But you know, some videos you just watch till the end, but you don't like them. But some videos you like and you still scroll past just because the first second is interesting. What I'm trying to say is Instagram has different metrics for different purposes. The main thing Instagram wants is for people to be on the platform. So Instagram will naturally show your videos to more people if your videos make the people stay longer on the platform. Meaning, one of the most, if not the most important metric is the watch time. And if you can get people to stay on your video for as long as 50, 50% of the video is a good ratio. If people stay for at least half of the video, if every second person watches that video till the end, that's a really good ratio. um, if more, even better. Then yeah, you're pretty good, and that is, I think, the most important metric. But also, reading if your hook was good or not good, you cannot really read that from the analytics, but you will know if your watch time is good that your hook was probably good too. Otherwise, people would probably not watch the video till the end, right? So we'll look at the watch time. Obviously, this is the first and most important one.
It's the issue is like with me sometimes, or actually a lot of times when I see, like I could read the analytics and I could understand that the hook is not good. Okay,
Hmm.
so something is about the hook, but the problem with me mainly is what is wrong with the hook.
Hmm.
Like I know there is something wrong in the hook, but what is it?
Hmm.
That's also another issue. Not just to read it, but also even if you know how to read it, it's just analyzing what is wrong with the hook.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah, and this is something that nobody has the perfect answer to. People can give their feedback on it and give their advice, but essentially, it's not like Instagram approves or disapproves the hook. Instagram basically just shows you how people resonate with your hook. And if they don't, then there is a reason for it. And there are examples of people that, just for me, I still come over examples where I don't understand why certain things were the case. For an example, I want to give an example for this. There's one of my, you know, is a good friend now, but also one of the big inspirations for me. Um, he did this crazy video, and I am, I'm like, I was hooked, and I was like, damn, that's crazy. But people where I was showing that video to, and I was like, I don't understand why this didn't get like a million views. I was showing that to people, and they were like, yeah, I don't know. It's just like something about it didn't catch them, right? It's just the beginning, and that's what I mean. Like, even though I was like, that is crazy, the most people that I showed it to were like, I would have probably scrolled past, and that's all that matters. And yeah, what I'm trying to say about your content, bro, we can have a look at your hooks. Maybe I can give some input. I don't want to extend this for too long to have like go over, because I don't have the secret sauce. I honestly don't. If I had, I would probably, I don't know. I don't. And I don't think anybody does. But what we can do with your hooks, we can have a look at it, and I can use it as an example, maybe, to like give people a more straightforward answer to that question. But
sure.
before we do that, I want to go over that question that Paul asked. I don't know what Paul that is, but he said, Lenny, do you advise centering videos around you as a creator rather than having the work on its own? For example, do brands now want you to be in the videos rather than you using your skills to create something where you don't appear? Just a question. If it's better to position yourself as an influencer with your persona at the center, rather than just creating with your cool stuff. Honestly, bro, um, you can make a career, you know, based on both. If you can make great work, um, you can get a lot of money. What you do need to do, though, in order to like make yourself stand out, is create something outside the box. And I think for me, my personal approach is always been trying to establish myself as more than just the guy who understands 3D software. Because at the end of the day, I am aware that there's so many people out there that are so much more talented and skilled, technically skilled in the software that they're using. But what I try to do with my content is always base it on my unique approach to creating a video, which is why I'm trying to promote my face and show my face in the videos a lot more. Because at the end of the day, as you are building a personal brand, the people don't approach you for the 3D work. They approach you for the type of content you create, which is unique to you because there's only one you. And that I think is the easier way to establish yourself as a personal brand. Also, naturally, people will follow you a lot more. And when you are someone who has a face and a name to it and a voice to them, you will have a much easier time talking about stuff outside of your work, right? Because people follow people. And if you can get people interested in you as a person, if that's what you want, through your work, you will have a much easier time taking different paths, building different businesses in different fields, right? This is the kind of route you can take when you are presenting yourself online in that way. I am by far not there yet, but for an example, him, he is a face now and he has established himself. Like the transitions itself, they're filmed with a phone. No brand approaches him for the transition. They approach him for that one package and that one package that works, which is this format, right? So my advice for you would be to, if I answer your question, um, would you? Yeah, I don't think you should. I mean, there's no right and wrong here, but I would try to do is find a sweet spot where you're promoting your work and making people be impressed by your work, not just by you as a person, but also, have yourself be presented enough in those videos for you to make those videos unique. Does what I'm saying make sense? Because what I'm essentially trying to say here is you can have the best performing videos. If there's nothing in those videos that makes a brand go, ooh, this could be our product, ooh, this could be our service, they will most likely not be willing to approach you or spend a lot of money on you because you don't have that credibility. If you find a sweet spot between being a creator and a face and also very technically skilled and just being able to produce something where they go like, oh, this could be our product, then you're golden. On the other hand, if you just create cool videos, they will decide between picking you or another creative agency who can technically do the same thing, right? So yeah, this would be my advice. Try to find a sweet spot. Yeah, play to your strengths makes a lot of sense. Yes, and obviously also for you, if that's not your, because I'm basically what I'm saying here is my approach, what I do. But you don't need to go that path if you're not the type of person who's in front of the camera and who likes to be that face to it. You don't need to be, right. And sometimes you can, you know there's other ways to like make your content unique. There's so many different people that let me just think of this one guy. He's wearing this mask. I don't remember his name, but there's so many creators out there who do it differently. And maybe your recurring element is your hand or whatever, but you have a certain element that is always like you, that makes you you. And yeah, I think this will be my advice. Try to find something, because then you will not be so stressed about always trying to be the best in your technical skills in that field, but also just, I nowadays I'm approached as a creative and not the blender guy, which makes it easier for me to bring in other people and don't feel like I'm limiting myself to my own skills and be stressed about other people being better than me, but rather be like, okay, I have this new opportunity to try out this new effect with these new people that I haven't worked with before, and we'll create something together. And that is the approach I'm taking. Does not need to be yours, but this is how I do it. um, yes, someone just posted the name. I think it's Aixio. Is this French dude? Is it him? Yeah, he's crazy. Yeah, so he does these videos, and he always has his mask. Like it's a very unique style, obviously. But he has, found his way of presenting himself online. He's not showing his face. Still, Trico, great example. Trico is also a great example of, one of the best examples, honestly, as a promoting a brand that way is insane. Like the way he does it, also on TikTok, is crazy. Like he has this. I don't know if that's his personal brand. He has this one. Yeah, where he does these videos with the face mask and his AI voice. You know, it's unique. You know it. Um, yeah, exactly. The dude with the mask built the entire clothing brand with a mask. Yeah, that's one example for it. And he obviously promoting a product, but he has something unique, something familiar. Um, yeah, I think that is my advice to you, Paul. And obviously, it always comes down to what it is that you're doing. I want to have a look at your portfolio real quick, Aladdin, and maybe give you an input there. Um, if you're still here, bro.
Yes, I am here. I am here. Don't worry.
Perfect. Um, give me an example, and I'll try to like give you my input on it.
Okay, so let's say, for example, number four, the last one, and maybe the second one. No, no, no. I mean from the left, EP4, yeah, and EP3, for example.
Okay. Yeah. Let's have a look at it. I don't know if you can hear the.
No, I cannot hear.
You cannot hear the audio. Yeah, obviously. But see, this is. I mean, you say, I don't even. Not everyone you meet is meant to stay. And black screen. I feel like um, something about it. You know, it's a general feeling. First of all, it's understanding that if that was on my page, I would have probably swiped, and that's just being honest, right? That's
Mhm.
the kind of feedback you want to get. Okay, then
Yes.
understanding why, and I can just give you my input on here, and I think I would have probably swiped because framing wise, the video is not, it looks, just visually does not look super impressive to me, right? It's just like very flat. The composition of it could be more interesting. You could have chosen a different angle, maybe from the side, to make it a bit more, give it a bit more depth. This is one thing. Changing the subtitles, maybe, and also changing the wording. I think for this one, I was having a hard time understanding what the first sentence even was because it was so quick. It was like, not everyone you meet is meant to stay. There's so many things that I don't like. I look at my eyes and where my eyes go, right? And for me, if I look at it, like I don't know where to look. There's a big empty space here, so my eyes naturally go down here and they look at here, and then I look here and to the right and to the left, and then it's already black screen. I'm like, what was the message here, right? I think making the first part a bit, or making the message a bit, giving the message a bit more room to hit, and maybe changing up the angle would have would have gone a long way, I think, just visually. And then I think the sentence itself, not everyone you meet is meant to stay, is something that I think you could have chosen a different wording for that. I'm not gonna sit here and give you like the best wording for it. It's something that just needs to like click and be like, okay, this could be more engaging than, or a bit more like hands-on, a bit more like where people feel like, okay, they are actually interested in that, right? So because if you say not everybody is meant to stay, it's just like, it's very broad. It's not super specific. There's no direct question asked. There's no direct, you know, the viewer is not directly being engaged. It's just
Mhm.
like a statement that I would not feel connected to because it's very broad, right? Um, so think of something that is a bit more, maybe has a bit more context to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You could start with something like, because right now what you're doing is you're basically creating this metaphor of people getting up, you're still sitting there, and they're going, right? What you could do instead, to make this metaphor a bit more aesthetic, because this is another way to do it, making a very broad or general quote sound very aesthetic and very meaningful is basing it on a beautiful or like um, an impactful visual. For an example, you create a very beautiful frame of a hand that slips away or something. That could be another way to make it like hit. But then the whole thing would need to be in that. The whole video would need to be in that style. Um, but I think you get my point. The first thing here is just like this. I can tell why this isn't viral, right? It's just like you tried it out, and this is what I mean. You tried it out, and now you look back at it and you try to like understand what about it was it that I could have changed. And I can give you right now visually, angle, perspective, subtitles. It's hard to read them. Yellow on green does not go well. There's little things, right? There's just like, but they all add up to be one. Where people go like, okay, boom, gone, right? And this is, yeah, try to look at these things. And for an example, try for the next one, try choosing a different font, try making the color a bit different, try choosing a different background, try changing the framing a bit, and also try changing up the wording. Have you I don't know, start with a question. I cannot think of something great now. This is not really what I do, right? But try to think of making the wording sound a bit different.
Fair enough.
And then let's go for the other one, the last one. I think it's the same thing. Look at it. It's like you tried out this effect, and I like it, but it's hard to like. I have a hard time. It's not dragging me into it because my eye doesn't know where to go. My eye is here, my eye is up here, my eye is down here, and then it's already gone. It's just not simple and like easy for my eye to read what is happening, right? When you look at the composition of, for an example, I don't want to use my video as like a the right example, but what I tried to do in this video to not make it so like I tried to make the framing very still, very clear for people to understand, make the composition like you have these lines. I specifically put someone into that corner. This is obviously a whole different format, right? There's a whole different other reasons why this didn't perform. I'm just like talking about the visual framing. There's this Lego piece here. Your eye naturally understands, okay, this is Lego. They see the Lego piece falling. They hear the Lego sound. Okay, I'm immediately aware of what is happening. The context is there, right? It would have been different if I don't know. I cannot think of like something else, but you get my point. The composition is just
Yeah.
way more, you know, way more clear. This is just too short. I think you could have easily left this hook. I think honestly, you were probably trying to get it like as quick as possible. Just 3 second rule, right? 3 second rule. Fuck that.
Yes.
Honestly, fuck the
Yes.
3 second rule. Like if a hook is interesting enough and like the hook can also be 10 seconds, 15 seconds long. Like it just needs to hook people. And this is what I mean with like secret advice. Try to get your viewers' attention, try to get your message across in 10 and then 3 seconds maximum. Bullshit. I think this is achieving the opposite effect here. If this was a bit more slow, if you were able to follow the message a bit better, the message, you maybe even put a pause there intentionally, where people would go like, wait, let me think, what does he mean by that? And then you start explaining. You instantly more into like, this hook doesn't give people a chance to even think of what is happening, right? There's too much. And then they're like, they lose the context. For these type of videos, honestly, bro, I think taking out the pace a bit. And I don't mean that to have like crazy long still frames there. I just mean like making the wording, having pauses in there, impactful pauses where people actually start thinking, because your content is based on understanding what you're saying, and you're saying a lot and very good stuff. But if it's so fast, people will have a very hard time keeping up. And instead of like trying to understand it, they will just swipe away because it's too much to handle.
Makes sense.
So yeah, I
I
don't want to.
remember. I
Yeah,
remember just quickly. I remember like you kind of like the episode 2, the second. Yes, this one for the hook one. That was
yeah,
like where I hit the book or something
yeah,
myself.
yeah. I mean, I like the visual and the idea, but for this one, honestly, bro, what could have performed even better is filming yourself from the BTS, running up to that bench with a book, hitting it to nowhere, then going around the corner in one take, sitting on that bench again and pretending to be hit, and then cutting to that beginning, right?
Mhm.
This would have been like, because the process by itself is visually interesting. The effect itself is cool, but it's not like, wow, you know? If people go like, okay, I want to see what that looks like from the camera view, for an example, you could use that. But there's so many different ways. But I like that you're trying out stuff. And honestly, bro, I think there's a lot of potential here.
Thank you. That's actually see. I didn't know these things. Like, like for example, after what you said, what got in my mind, maybe I should stop cloning myself at the beginning, at least. You
Yeah.
know.
I mean,
So I didn't
doesn't
know that.
it,
I thought like, oh, cloning myself could be a good idea, you know. But at the end, it's like I know there's something about the hook, but I don't
yeah.
know what the fuck is it.
Yeah, I can tell you. It's just, I that's why it's so important to get outside perspectives, because I know how it feels with my content when I'm like happy with a piece and I show it to someone and they are not immediately impressed by it, or just something about it feels off. There is something about it feels off, even though I feel like it is good. I want to go over the quick questions that are coming in here.
Yeah, I
Can
see
I
there are
ask?
some questions. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
yeah. Can I ask something real quick about the Lego tutorial? Yeah, sure. Ayman, you can ask. Paul is asking. Lenny, did you have any guidance when dealing with brands when you blow up? Do you work with an agency? Apologies if this is too personal. I understand. And then he has another question. Also, sorry to be asking lots of questions. Don't be sorry, Paul. If you can give a very short summary of how you did the
Okay, this is about the
Porsche
Porsche video.
transition.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. Let's start with the first question. Did you have any guidance when dealing with brands when you blew up? Not too much. No, I got some advice from other creators in that space. But again, most of it was trial and error, bro. I have made a lot of mistakes. I have let a lot of big brand deals slip or undercharged, even when I became bigger. And it's a work in progress, bro. And I don't. I've always felt like I expect too much from myself to know everything right away, just because I'm in a position where I'm approached by huge brands. I am does not mean I'm able to like charge the big prices right away, right? Just because this is still a learning curve. I do, however, try to talk to a lot of people who have been in the industry for longer than me, try to get their advice as much as possible, and try to gather that advice. And I also learn a lot from client to client to client. So no, to answer your question, um, not big guidance or management or agency, all me, but I did get a lot of learnings from other people by actively asking them, seeing how they do it, understanding what the rates usually are. Being in the industry for a bit longer gets you a good feel for it. Um, and the second one, also, sorry to be asking lots of questions. So if you can give a quick, short summary of how you did the Porsche transition from white to badge to rising city to drone shot, multiple comms overlaid. Apologies. Um, what's the best way to explain that? Uh, 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 I think basically I'm trying to break it down, maybe for you to get an idea. I have a camera parented to a circle. The camera moves closer to the circle. The circle, however, is parented to that badge. This is very technical now, but the camera moves essentially very close to that badge, and I used a 3D scan from Google Maps using the Blossom plugin of that exact spot of the city where we got the aerial drone hyperlapse from. Okay, and I imported that into Blender, scaled it down crazy to put it on that little badge, and then had the camera fly through it. And then I used some basic masking and comping for that camera to match with the actual drone footage. So I overlaid it a bit. I may do a technical breakdown of it. Maybe we can also do that in a live call. We can actually write that down, Aladdin. Let's do one of the next calls for a technical breakdown where I just go over some effects uh, for some videos.
Sure.
Um, someone's, yeah, I hope that was enough, but I really would like to show this on screen more. I think this is better. Am I the only one who can't see the add-on link and the add-ons tutorial? I tried to download this project. It says needs permission. Wait, for which video? For the Porsche video? What are you looking for, my man? No, the Lego tutorial. You're missing permission for that one. For the project files? If so, I am very sorry for that. I'll try to fix it as soon as possible. Oh yeah. Okay. I'll look at it. It will be fixed in the next 5 minutes after this call, so you'll be able to get the project files. Would love that if you could do a breakdown. Yes, I am more than happy to do so. Also, feel free to like write any ideas, any other projects. I think we can maybe for the next few calls do a call where I do exactly that, showcasing some effects live on screen, and just going over it, specific questions like these ones, for example. I think there's a lot of people waiting for that one. And it always takes forever to do like a full tutorial, and then I'm not hitting the exact thing that people are asking or looking for. So let's just try to do that in a live call and just collect as much as possible. So gather your questions, guys, put them into the community, and I'll have to try to like break everything down as much as possible, and really make you guys understand it. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to gatekeep here. I really want to make you guys understand what I'm doing. It's just like I don't really know what it is that I need to explain to you. So feel free to ask any questions. The more questions I get, the more I can answer. I'm happy to share everything. So yeah. Yeah, cool. Porsche with
Cool.
Mega. Yeah, we can do that. Awesome. Great. Cool. Yeah.
Any more questions, guys? You have 9 minutes. Ask whatever you want before Paul disappear. Before Lenny disappear. Sorry. Sorry, Paul.
Sorry, Paul, man. Meanwhile,
Huge help on this call, boys. Cheers again. Cheers, bro. Anytime. Anytime, mate.
Of course, bro. Mate.
He's from Scotland. I think, yeah, he's from Scotland. I remember him now. Yeah. He's the Scottish guy who does like really cool videos as well.
Yeah.
I remember I was having fun. One of the comments about Scottish. That was the first time I hear Scottish accent. So, yeah.
Okay. Yes, lad.
Yes, lad.
Nice.
I feel I'm
Big
talking to
fan.
Thomas Shelby, lad.
I like that.
Any more questions, guys? Or in this case, any more questions, lad? Have a great weekend, troops. Oh, that's a new word. Nice. Okay, I guess everyone is having had enough. A lot
Enough of my voice.
information.
I understand that.
Enough about a lot of information. I can see it's a lot.
Yes, I'm trying to upload the project files or give access to the project files as we speak. So the project files should be uploaded. Anyone with the link, but it should be.
Or you can post it in the community right now if you have the link already ready. Just post it in the community.
The link is there. It should be in the tutorial for it.
Ah, okay.
Like it should be in the page. I don't know what.
Which can you maybe share a screen and navigate to where they can find it? Which video exactly?
Yeah, it's in the tutorial, in-depth tutorials, and you'll be able to get it right. You said you got it? No. When you go in a classroom and you go to in-depth tutorials, Porsche Real, there you go, project files, and you should be redirected to this one here. It's down here, and you should have access, I think, because it says that anyone with the link has access to be a viewer. There we go. Okay, cool. Anyways, if there's any other questions, feel free to just post them in the community. I'll try to fix everything. Let's have a schedule call for the next one. We'll break stuff down. It's a bit more technical, less chit-chatty, less presentation, more hands-on. Let's dive into Blender. And yeah, thank you guys for being a part of Motion Creators. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week on Tuesday this time. We'll not postpone the call. All
See
right.
ya, guys.
See ya. Thank you so much. All right, stop.